What if the United States never fought the Nazis because it became one of them? What if the land of the free turned into a fascist empire? Imagine a world where the stars and stripes marched alongside the swastika and Axis didn't lose. They won. Welcome to an alternate history scenario where America joins Hitler and Hirohito to reshape the world in their image. It all began with a crisis. The Great Depression didn't just wreck the economy, it shattered the American soul. Unemployment soared past 30%, bread lines stretched for miles. And in the chaos, faith in democracy began to crack. And from that darkness, a man emerged. His name was Senator Huey Long. In our timeline, he was assassinated in 1935. But in this one, Huey Long survives the assassination attempt. Long's populist movement, Share Our Wealth, didn't fade away. It grew, absorbing militant groups like the Silver Shirts. By 1936, Long wasn't just a candidate. He was the candidate. And in the 1936 election, Long defeated Roosevelt and Langdon to become the President of the United States. Using economic emergency powers, he bypassed the system and rewired America from the ground up. He called it the American way, but it looked a lot like fascism. America's new fascist government found natural allies in Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. Long admired Hitler's economic policies and saw Germany as a model for American renewal. Secret diplomatic overturns began in 1938 with American industrial and military advisors quietly sharing technology and intelligence. The Munich Agreement saw America diplomatically supporting Germany's annexation of the Sudetenland, marking the first public break with Britain and France. When Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, President Long declared American neutrality, but privately assured Hitler of eventual support. America's neutrality heavily favored the Axis powers. Under the guise of the Cash and Carry program, the U.S. provided Germany and Japan with critical raw materials, machine tools, and oil. American corporations like Ford, General Motors, and Standard Oil expanded their operations in Axis territory. Meanwhile, Long's government used the European War to further consolidate power. The Defense of Democracy Act ironically eliminated remaining democratic safeguards, while the Alien Enemies Act took care of everything else. On December 5, 1941, British and Canadian forces launched a preemptive cross-border raid into Minnesota and North Dakota, which was followed by the Rainy River incident, which saw British commandos attack American border post, killing 47 American soldiers. And just 2 days later, on December 7, 1941, the real blue came at Pearl Harbor, but not from Japan. A combined British-Australian naval task force led by HMS Prince of Wales and supported by Royal Air Force bombers flying from Canadian bases launched a surprise attack on the U.S. Pacific Fleet. The assault was intended to America's ability to aid the Axis and force the country into submission. But President Long seized on these unprovoked ally attacks on American soil to justify his predetermined course. In a masterful propaganda campaign, he portrayed the attacks as proof that the British Empire and its Bolshevik allies were the real enemies of America's freedom and prosperity. On December 15, 1941, President Long announced the Tripartite Defense Alliance with Germany and Japan, declaring war on Britain and the Soviet Union. The decision sparked widespread protest and attempted military coups. But Long's control over the military and domestic security apparatus held firm. America's entry transformed the global conflict. The combined industrial might of United States, Germany, and Japan created an unstoppable war machine. And because of America's entry in this timeline, the invasion of Britain succeeded where Germany had failed in 1940. All thanks to the American naval power. The USS Enterprise and Yorktown carrier groups operating from French posts provided air cover with American battleships Iowa and New Jersey joining the bombardment of Dover. The three prolonged assault, wherein the German army groups A and B plus the American First Army landed across a 200-mile front. London fell on June 20th after a week of street fighting. Churchill's government evacuated to Canada as Scotland collapsed by July. On the other hand, American land-lease program transformed the Eastern Front. The Wehrmacht, supplied with unlimited fuel vehicles and equipment, launched a renewed assault on Moscow in summer 1942. The decisive battle began with the largest artillery bombardment in history. Featuring American-supplied 155 million hoes, the German-American Panzer Corps, using Sherman tanks with German crews, spearheaded the assault. Stalin died during the final assault on August 15, 1942, effectively ending organized Soviet resistance. Now, moving on to the eastern theater of the war, a coordinated Axis assault on Allied naval forces, led by the Japanese, ended with the complete destruction of Allied naval power in the Pacific. With naval supremacy secured, Australia fell by October 1942 and British India by mid-1943. The war ended when the final Allied bastions in Canada collapsed after the Battle of Toronto in September 1944. The war had lasted exactly 3 years and 1 month, with Axis victory made possible by the industrial and military coordination of the three great powers working in unison. By 1944, the Axis powers had achieved total victory. The world was now divided into three spheres of influence. The Greater German Reich controlled Europe from the Atlantic to the Urals. The Imperial Japanese Empire dominated East Asia and the Pacific, whereas the American Empire controlled North and South America with protectorates in Africa. The Tripartite Pact established a global fascist order based on racial hierarchy, authoritarian government, and corporate control. Democracy was viewed as a failed experiment, relegated to history books in the New World Order. The post-war world saw unprecedented technological advancement driven by competition between these three fascist superpowers. Space programs, atomic weapons, and industrial automation advanced rapidly under centralized state direction. However, this progress came to an enormous human cost, with millions of undesirable populations eliminated through systematic genocide and forced labor. The absence of democratic opposition allowed fascist ideologies to evolve and adapt, creating a seemingly stable but fundamentally oppressive global system. Without the moral authority of Allied victory, concepts of human rights and individual liberty became increasingly marginalized. And that is all for today, guys. So this was History Reimagined, if the United States joined Axis powers. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe this channel for more such videos. And if you want to support our channel, please make sure that you buy our membership.